North America's finest in six-a-side soccer do battle right here, right now. Group A has been grueling for Canada. It took them an eternity to get here to Muscat, and upon their arrival they were greeted with 3 games in as many days, which becomes 4 in 4 with this one against the United States. The likelihood of their Middle Eastern adventure continuing is slim, but no better incentive than beating next-door neighbours USA, who themselves haven't exactly been cooking in the Sultanate's sunshine. Yet to win, yet to score in the tournament so far, but equally determined to send Canada packing tonight. Action on the way next, but first the national anthems of Canada and the United States of America. Old Canada, but so far it's been old dear for the Canadians. They'll be hoping to change all of that tonight. If they lose against the United States of America, they are out. The USA, though, travelling with a slim squad to say the least. Luis de Anda doesn't have too many people to pick from. In fact, he is registered as coach and player wearing the number 5. Goalkeeper number 13, Diego Diaz, has been called into action on numerous occasions, but it's at the other end of the pitch where America have struggled. Well, we've loved this World Cup as well. And we've loved the way that these games have been refereed. Jakub Orlinski in charge of this one, along with Nobi Medved from Hungary. Here's how the Canadians line up. They finally scored a goal in their last game against Oman, the host nation. Ryan Lindsay wearing number 8, the man who grabbed it. The amount of times that Canada have struck the woodwork, either post or crossbar, in this tournament is almost unfathomable. It's been a real tough tournament for them so far, but they can end it with a bit of late joy by beating their big rivals and big national neighbours in the United States of America. Canada done 3-0 by Qatar, 5-1 by Italy and 3-1 by Oman. Of course, the host nation in this group, Group A, and temperatures still nice and toasty in the mid-20s Celsius here in the Middle East. Well, plenty of pride and enthusiasm from the Canadians, despite the fact they have no points and have conceded the most goals in the group, but that's not going to deter Dmitry Akimov and his troops from really throwing themselves at this game and absorbing the atmosphere and the culture of this nation. As for the United States of America, just a goal would be nice at this point. Based in the southern states of the country. Many of them with Hispanic influence amongst their roots. This was referred to by Canadian coach Dmitry Akimov as the derby match. My name's Niall McCorn, guiding you through this one in Group A, and alongside me, Martin Scoop Hopkins. Evening to you again, Scoop.
Hi, Niall.
Derby games, they're always fun to watch. They're always entertaining to watch, and these two sides haven't had the best time of it in the tournament so far. But
yes, and
that adds determination to do well here tonight.
What really leapt out at me during the national anthems was the threadbare nature of the Canadian squad. They had their full squad listed on our screens there, but I think they've got a couple of injuries.
Well, they do have suspensions as well. Goran Zivkovic was shown a red card for an elbow in their last game against Oman shortly before the conclusion. So, as far as we're told, he shouldn't be able to play. And that man's been essential for Canada as well in this tournament, despite the fact that they haven't won a game yet. Horace Zemo, the goalkeeper, really fills the frame of the goal and introduced to the action with his first save of the day.
He has an impressive figure. Horace Zemo in the goal. I think he's had time in professional sport, not necessarily soccer, but other sports. Very athletic presence. Imposing figure. And as you say, important for the Canadians.
First effort from Mario Ramirez for the United States. The USA competed in the very first edition of the Soccer World Cup. That was in 2018 in Lisbon. Always keen to represent their nation with pride. Well, before tonight, the USA and England were the only teams not to score a goal in the tournament. Might that change here? Canada up to the task defensively with Ali Manovic. And of course, England did score, didn't they, Scoop, in their game in this tournament tonight?
Yeah, and they did. Alex Locke, the man who got the goal.
So now America remain the only ones without one in the tournament. Zemo just about clings on.
What did the Kazakhs have to say after their game? Saw you there on the far side, interviewing them.
Yeah, I think just a win's a win. Like, they gave credit to Sudan, who made it difficult for them. But sometimes you don't have to be at optimum levels to win a tournament. I think we've seen that in the past. Header from Lindsay for Canada is wide.
It was a team performance, wasn't it? They kept going.
Yeah, it was. And speaking of teams, with how light the United States squad is, you imagine it's a real challenge to not be exhausted by the end of these games. Good effort, good save. Superb save from Horace Zemo. Not only kept it away from target, but off the post as well and behind, so it's just a corner. That was incredible.
Great strength from the goalkeeper. Down smartly. He's a big lad. And got down smartly at his near post.
America looking to be the ones to open their account, not just in the tournament, but in this game as well. In Group A, which also includes Qatar and Italy and the host nation Oman. Qatar dispatched America 4-0. All 4 goals coming from the right boot of the same player for the Qataris. Abdul Rahman.
Interesting to hear that the principal language on the USA bench is Spanish.
Yes, there is a large Mexican influence running through this United States team. As I say, most of them based in and around Texas, as far as I'm told. So naturally, a bit of Spanglish might be audible from the touchlines. At the moment, United States, the ones on the front foot. Can Canada break away? Goalkeeper out of his area. Well, interestingly enough, that is not Diego Diaz between the sticks for the United States. You mentioned how there might have been a few injuries in the Canada camp. Just wonder why Diaz's presence isn't being felt here.
The goalkeeper is wearing number 12.
Good save.
And Diego Diaz was listed as number 1. So there is a change there. Always dangerous only bringing one goalkeeper to a tournament. So we'll get the news from the bench there to see, get confirmation to see who that is between the sticks.
Still goalless after 6 minutes. Ramirez. That's good from Lindsay. Looked up early, assessed where the goalkeeper was, but was always running away from the penalty area. Never wrap his foot around it and bring it back on target. Brighter from Canada.
Lindsay, good player. Main creative force for the Canadians, but he hasn't been able to exert the influence that he would have liked on this tournament. Hard going. Threadbare squad, can't make the substitutions that other sides can make. And they had the arduous odyssey to get here. 30 hours on planes.
They got caught up in Doha, Qatar, as far as I'm aware, which is perhaps a bit more of a stinger, considering they lost 3-0 to the Qataris in their opening group stage game.
They had to fly to Paris first, which was almost the journey we had to make to get here. And that was 6 or 7 hours for us. Here comes Zemo.
Great effort. Well, he's a big fella, isn't he? Horace Zemo, so you can imagine he's got an absolute rocket of a shot on him.
My goodness me, that was travelling. He really got his foot around that.
Not that far over the top either.
Might like to try it again.
Well, if one goalkeeper's going to go and have a go, why can't the other? Still waiting for that first big quality chance. The United States have tested Zemo, who tipped it onto the post. That was more of a half chance than anything else. A win for Canada will keep them alive. Well, just confirmation of who that goalkeeper is. It's Ricardo Serrano, who is actually listed as an outfield player. So you're right, Diego Diaz, Scoop, may well be injured. And Ricky Serrano is in net instead. And so far, from what we've seen, he's made a couple of saves. He's had a shot. And here's the latest effort. Strikes the back of Canada's Alimanovic.
Goalkeepers come in all shapes and sizes, and here we have two prime examples here in this game.
Oh, what a goal. What a goal for the United States. America's wait for a goal in this World Cup is over. And it was worth the wait.
David Lopez, sublime strike. And at last, the USA have got a goal.
Look at this from Lopez. Head down and smash. Races past Zemo. And it's taken some special goals to beat him in this tournament so far. Canada behind. The United States lead in this North American mini derby.
Yeah, there's not much of the goal to aim at. Zemo takes up quite a lot of it. And he found the top corner of the net. Did Lopez. That'll lift spirits.
I think for the United States, from their perspective, we've mentioned how small their squad is. Beneficial that they played their first game after opening the tournament with an evening kickoff in the daytime. Canada have played 9 a.m. twice, and we've already reflected tonight upon how that can have an impact on the speed of the game, tiredness of the players. USA in again. Zemo saving again.
Really good goalkeeper. Distinctive orange strip. Takes up most of the goal.
Lopez can't swing it goalwards to double his and America's tally. Yeah, Zemo, at times we've been right behind set pieces and opportunities in our commentary position here at the Automobile Association in Muscat, the capital of the Middle Eastern country of Oman, which is where this tournament is being held. And it's almost impossible to find an angle to score past him. He really does fill the frame of the goal. That is no exaggeration for the Canadian goalkeeper.
I think it's been a factor as well, those 9 a.m. kickoffs that you were saying. The teams have got to be here something like 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, no rest days for the Canadians either. They've played Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and now Tuesday. Day after day after day after day, whereas other teams have had breaks and rests between their games. The Canadians haven't. They've played every single day.
This is their final game, the Canadians. The USA's third.
Yeah, of course, 5 teams in a group, 2 of which progressed to the knockout stages, the last 16 of the tournament, and only 4 group stage games. So Canadians didn't play on opening day, but the subsequent 4 days, they've been in action.
It might be just me, but it's really hot in the morning. I know we're not scheduling games in the afternoon, but the morning sun seems particularly intense. Godic, number 13 for Canada, is 49 years old. Hard for young legs, even harder for older legs.
Ricky Serrano comes out of his goal for America, but can't be looped over the top of him for a Canadian equaliser. Yeah, you mentioned the age of some of the players, but also this is a sport in which experience can be invaluable. So England have a young squad, and they've found it really tough, haven't they, in this tournament, coming up against players many years their seniors. Nice flicked header. Oh, big collision. Oh. Monstrous collision between the Canadian goalkeeper Horace Zemo.
I hope that's not the
and Gordon,
USA player's head.
Gordon Gilead. It's not his head. He doesn't punch his head. We can see that from the replay. But a big coming together, I think, just in the ribs. The two of them both making a play for the ball. And, yeah, difficult decision for the referees here. And a bit of difficulty as well for Horace Zemo. Gilead has since returned to his feet. Zemo still in a spot of bother down there in the penalty area.
Landed particularly heavily.
Maybe that's what's caused the pain rather than the actual collision.
But it was great goalkeeping. Asked no questions, came out, got the ball clear, really dominated his penalty area. And let's hope the big man's all right.
He's getting a rubbing over with an ice pack. Trust me, that ice, it's like gold here in Oman.
Oh, I haven't seen any.
It's hard to come by around the place. Well, I have. It's being kept by the physios. The medical team here in Muscat have been on the ball every minute of every day, keeping a close eye on the action and offering assistance when required. There was a game involving the Iranians a few days back in which a tray of crushed ice was being carried along the touchline in front of us. I was curious to see what the reasoning was. It was allegedly put into a sock scoop, tied up together, and worn as almost like a satchel underneath the jersey to alleviate a bit of Iranian pain, so I'm told.
Right, okay.
So
I did see the Sudanese captain limping away from here.
Yeah, players have put their bodies on the line for their teams, for their nations. Well, Zemo looks okay.
Thank goodness for that, because the Canadians have not got another goalkeeper, and if he'd been forced to leave the field, that would have ruined the game, really.
VAS, the referee video assistant system, is in play, I should say, in this tournament. The technology currently being applied, which is why we have a pause in proceedings. The referees at the moment are just assessing a few of the replays on the screen off the back of that incident. Penalty. The decision is penalty. So we will have an opportunity for the United States. Zemo, even though he was caught up and injured in that collision, has actually conceded a penalty, and so the United States of America will have the opportunity. That is the reason why. And you can see there in the bottom right of your picture the referees involved in making that decision.
Well, that adds insult to the injury. The goalkeeper, no intent there. He came out to get the ball. He must have clipped the man first, and if he did, then it's a penalty. No question about that.
The Latvian referee Marek Sker is the man on RVAS duty, and so we have a Socca penalty. Here are the rules: 10 seconds from the halfway line to score a goal. If the goalkeeper smothers it and gets control of the ball, or the ball goes out of play, the move is dead and the penalty is missed. The goalkeeper cannot come out of his penalty area. So here we go. The 10 seconds starts. United States with Lopez, saved by Zemo, and again by Zemo, and a third time by the big man. That is remarkable. And the 10 seconds is done. Well, he gave away the penalty, Horace Zemo, and he was saying there is no chance I'm letting that one go in.
Was that 4 saves? Was the 10 seconds up before the 4th? Really good goalkeeping. Determined to keep it out. One shot and another. Strong hand. A third. And possibly a 4th. But the 3 were enough.
Well, we get goals of the day clipped up for Instagram on the International Soccer Federation Instagram feed. So go and give that a follow if you haven't already, to see all of the screamers and crackers and scorchers from the day. Goalkeepers don't always get the same credit, do they, Scoop? Would quite like to see saves of the day as well. Don't want to add extra pressure to our amazing social media team, but surely Zemo's penalty save has to be included in the highlights of the day.
A triple save, yes, absolutely. Lopez will be disappointed not to have doubled his tally for the evening.
Well, we say derby matches are always intriguing and entertaining. It has been so far. Just approaching 20 past 8 local time here in Muscat. And I'm sure many in North America will be adjusting their schedules to take this in. Family and friends watching from back at home.
Different atmosphere without the Sudanese band, isn't it?
Great effort. Great goal. We need a goalkeeper's goal of the tournament, because that will surely be amongst the contenders. Ricardo Serrano deputising for Diego Diaz with the gloves tonight. How about that for another scorcher? What a strike. It's 2-0 to the United States.
Inside his own half as well. Really great strike. What's impressive is it's his first shot of the evening, and the first one's on target.
Well, Horace Zemo got a hand to it, and after his penalty saving heroics, must be really gutted to have conceded that. Canada 2 back to the USA. The United States up by 2 goals here at the 6-a-side Soccer World Cup. Powerful header into the feet of Foley. Good turn, and this is Rajic for the Canadians. They can't work it right. And a chance for those in red to rebuild again with the aforementioned Foley.
Rajic needed to get an early cross in there because there were men supporting him. Needed a good early cross, just delayed slightly. That one was travelling from Rajic. Just deflected behind. That one on target. Good shot that from the Canadian number 5.
Well, that's as close as Canada have come. Side-footed effort. Had the power to beat the goalkeeper, just not the direction.
Yeah, good position there for the big number 5. I think it was Alimanovic with the shot. Chances.
Well, you wait 2 group stage games for a goal, and you grab 2 in the first half against your rivals. Not bad for the United States. Lopez, searching again, side netting only this time. Zemo gets Canada restarted quickly, and over the head of Rajic, and the goalkeeper Serrano claims comfortably. Gilead. Magallanes thought about it. Gilead strikes it. Luis de Anda is on the field of play, the player coach for the USA, who have a corner kick against Canada here in Group A, the same group that contains Qatar, Oman and Italy. Rajic, Gladu, and Rajic again. Vojnovic is dispossessed by the United States. It's a great chance here for America's de Anda. And there were 2 red shirts across to close him down. And that will close out the end of the first half. The first 20 minutes in which Horace Zemo has been at the centre of the attention, making some unbelievable saves. One tipped onto the post, but it was his penalty save that's the big talking point. He came out to punch the ball away. Big collision with a United States player, and after deliberations and video technology, a penalty was given, which Zemo saved, but he couldn't keep out a shot from the opposite goalkeeper as Ricardo Serrano smashed home to extend the Americas lead after David Lopez had handed them the advantage. A first half with plenty of talking points, Scoop, but it's the United States who go in with the lead.
Yeah, they deserve it. Plenty of shots on goal. 9 for the USA, 5 to Canada. The important statistic, though, is that the USA have got 2 goals. David Lopez with the opener, and then the goalkeeper Richie Serrano with the second. That will give them some confidence. It's a good open game, this. The Canadians also showing what they could do. Perhaps a lower intensity to this game, with both teams really out of the competition.
Well, this is how the scoring was opened. Great strike from Lopez. We've seen 2 excellent goals in this game, haven't we?
Yeah, Lopez has got a good left foot. Just too quick for Zemo. Fizzed past him. You like that one?
Well, this is the big talking point of the first half, Scoop. Zemo in a challenge with an American player. The goalkeeper for Canada coming out. That was adjudged to have been a penalty. 1 save. A second save as he paws it away like a cat, a third with his legs, and then the ball's not even dead at this point. A 4th as it's chipped over towards him, and then the whistle went. That was incredible, and so was that from the opposite goalkeeper.
Yeah, what's remarkable is it's from inside his own half. Over 30 metres out, zip past the goalkeeper. Sheer velocity beat him there, and that is a goal for Serrano that we can add to the canon of great goals for goalkeepers so far in this tournament. And it's been an entertaining encounter. Perhaps foot off the gas a little bit. Canadians now with an evening kickoff, able to play the ball around a bit, just show what they can do.
Yeah, I just wonder whether tiredness is playing a part for the Canadian team. You mentioned injuries, and of course they have a suspension with Goran Zivkovic unable to play after his red card against Oman in the last group stage fixture. So the Canadians lighter than usual, and the fact that they have played, it's their 4th day in a row on this sultry surface in the Middle East. It is hot, the pitch does retain the heat and almost emanate it back out, so it is as warm as it could be in the evening.
Yeah,
down at pitch level.
No breeze at all. The flags are still barely moving. We have had for the last couple of days a little bit of a breeze from late afternoon, which has made things on the pitch a little bit more bearable. Good encounter here this evening though. Don't forget, coming up at 9 o'clock we have Iraq, Belgium, Serbia, Georgia and Egypt versus Colombia.
And if you want to keep on top of all of the fixtures, all of the goals and scores across this 2024 Soccer World Cup here in Oman, then downloading the International Soccer Federation app is the best way to do so. Available now from the App Store. You can watch the games live as they unfold as well on the live streams, which are also available on YouTube. So if you do miss any games, you can go back and watch them as they happened by searching for the Soccer Federation YouTube channel. So hopefully, if you've been watching as many games as we have, you are utterly hooked and gripped on the action. And there has been action, that's for sure.
Well, if you've been watching as many games as we have, you've been watching them all. And I commend you fully. And it has been well worth the effort. Some rich entertainment, sparkling football, good players, experienced players, players with less experience testing themselves against the best the world has to offer in this format.
Well, the players were ready to go, but the referees were not quite, and now we do have a full suite of match officials. Jakub Liński from Poland, Nobby Medved from Hungary, and Justin Bebbington from England are 3 match officials for this one. The United States against Canada. So almost ready for this second half to get underway. Remember, 20 minutes per half. Godic. Serrano, scorer of one of the United States goals, the second. Normally an outfield player, but no Diego Diaz tonight for the USA. So Serrano has taken the gloves and taken responsibility. Played up towards Godic, who tried the first time effort, but Serrano had scampered back, and I don't think even if he had looped it into the air, it would have been on target. Oh, good save, Zemo. Punched away towards us here in the commentary box. And the smell of deep heat is beginning to permeate the air, Scoop.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed that earlier as we were waiting to start our games. The smell of liniment permeated our commentary positions. And it's always good to have that smell. It reminds you what the game's all about. Very evocative smell of changing rooms.
Yeah, we could also smell the hot coals of an Omani grill over in the fan zone away to our left earlier this evening. Well, Zemo almost caught cold there. Canada get away with it. But the hospitality that we've been receiving from the Omanis has been excellent.
Some olfactory delights here in Oman.
Decent enough effort. Always over the top of Zemo's goal. Canada just trying to push a little bit more aggressively now, I think. If they lose, they're out, so why not take some risks? They are 2-0 down to their country neighbours, the United States. Good challenge from Lindsay. Keeper can't hold it, and Canada have a goal back. Milan Vojnovic on the spot and on target for Canada.
Yeah, goalkeeper couldn't hold it. Vojnovic made no mistake. Keeper tried to gather it at the second attempt, and he's performed well so far as Serrano, but unable to hold that one. Great work that from Godic to close the goalkeeper down and force him into the mistake. 2-1.
Well, I suppose that's what you get when you don't have a conventional goalkeeper in the net, perhaps. Ricardo Serrano, an outfield player, just mucking in for his team, who are light on numbers. And a switch made by the United States. Remember, it is roll-on, roll-off subs in this tournament, so you can make as many substitutions as you like. And that man who is introduced is David Lopez, the man who scored the first United States goal. Well, Canada have conceded more than double the amount of goals the United States have, but they have played a game more. Just managed to find a route back into the game, so conceding now would be a blow for the Canadians. And the Americans looking to push forward. Juan Magallanes has lost the boot. Mario Ramirez is being prepared to come on. He replaces Brian Hidalgo.
We were talking to the Canadians on the eve of the tournament. Virtually after they stepped on the plane, they were saying they hoped to make it out of the group. That was their ambition. And, you know, with some of the football they played tonight, you could see why they had some confidence. Could consider themselves a little unlucky and perhaps needed a squad with more in numbers.
Given away by Zemo. Oh, that's beautifully done by Luis de Anda. Recovery from the goalkeeper Zemo. He was the man who gave the ball to the United States. Beautiful little nutmeg as well from Luis de Anda, the man wearing the skull cap. Good save again. How many times have we said that this tournament? How many times have we praised Horace Zemo? That hulking figure in the Canadian goal. Well, Miroslav Godic is just going to receive a talking to here. I think maybe he's been a little bit too verbal to the referees, and he offers a hand in apology. Driven goalwards and straight through Zemo. Maybe a little unsighted, but the Americans mob Luis de Anda. What a goal it means for them. That they are in command against the Canadians. Straight through Zemo. Not the most powerful of strikes, but Zemo is beaten, and America restore their 2-goal advantage.
Yeah, straight through Zemo's legs. Godic unable to get the block in from the free kick, and you can see what it meant to the Americans. Absolutely delighted. Some delirium on the USA bench. 3-1.
That one's in the VIP area. Watch out if you're up there.
Let's hope the Sultan isn't. We almost copped one in the commentary box last night. Hit the scaffolding in front of us, otherwise we'd been in a spot of bother.
We've had one land on the roof on top of us. One has bobbled into the commentary box, I must say I've seen that. And I think I'm up to maybe 30 balls in the car park that I've seen. I reckon between us 4 commentators here at the tournament tonight, Scoop, we must have seen at least 100 probably. shots going over the top, but that's
Yeah.
part of the entertainment, isn't it?
Yeah, that was in the early stages of the competition, I think. I haven't seen so many this evening on the first couple of days. I think that part of that was adjusting to the conditions.
Appeals for handball, big appeals for handball that are listened to. Alex Foley was leading the Canadian protest. Just bounced up, didn't it? Unfortunate for Ramirez. His hand was extended away from his body. Well, he couldn't hold the last effort on his goal, Ricardo Serrano. As we've mentioned, not traditionally a goalkeeper, an outfield player, just helping out. Driven in, appeals for handball again. The referee thought about it, put his whistle to his lips and then changed his mind. And now the whistle goes. Well, the Canadians are asking for a look at the technology. It's up to the referees to determine whether they want to use the technology or not.
Yeah, not the players.
Well, they keep signalling the TV sign.
That's not their job.
Absolutely correct. I'm sure every incident gets checked over by RVAS.
You have to say, in this group, Oman and Qatar looking the favourites to go through. Italy still in with a chance.
Decision is no handball, so Canada will just have to get on with it. Well, it was nudged goalwards by Miroslav Godic. Lifted his knee high up and probably about the best he can manage from that situation.
I think he's been able to exert more influence on the game than he has in their previous fixtures. The oldest player in the tournament, at 49 years of age. Very hard to play in the hot sun in those 9 AM starts at that age.
Well, we mentioned the Mexican influence running through the American team. Well, there is a strong Slavic influence running through the Canadian side. Good effort from Luis de Anda. Double save from Timo. That one was again through bodies, and he was again in the way. Didn't crash through him this time.
Commendations of both players. Luis de Anda, his 2 shots, and the goalkeeper, his 2 saves.
Ramirez can't make anything of the corner. 10 minutes to play, Scoop. USA 3-1 to the good. They'll be hoping to keep it that way.
Luis de Anda looks a good player, doesn't he, for
Zemo
for the USA?
letting fly.
You wonder why the manager hasn't turned out so much himself. Clearly plenty to offer.
Just rolls off for Magallanes. Luis de Anda takes his seat on the bench, away to our right.
Canada haven't been able to get Ryan Lindsay in the game. He looked their best player, their best creative source, and he hasn't been able to exert his influence on this game.
Yeah, I think he probably is their best player, Scoop. Scored against Oman. Spent a year in Portugal in his younger days, learning the game. Was also on the books of Dinamo Zagreb, the Croatian side, part of their academy. Number 8 for Canada. Only 22 years of age, so still plenty of potential there.
The referee saying next time it's a yellow card.
Lindsay volleys it over. Well, America conclude their group stage campaign against Italy at 7 p.m. on Thursday. For Canada, this is their last run out and their last of the World Cup, because they won't be going through to the knockout stages unless they can mount a comeback and win against the United States with just over 7 minutes remaining. Godic wants a foul, and after a brief assessment from the referee, ultimately decides that the Canadians do deserve a free kick. Here's White. Foul from Gilliatt from the USA. So 2 in the wall. Will Vojinovic take this on? He will, and somehow kept away by Lopez. Second effort comes in from Canada, and over the top from Rajic. Well, David Lopez has scored goals at one end tonight, Scoop. He was keeping them out off the line at the other.
Yep. And Canada now giving it a good go as they exit the tournament, leaving with no regrets before they take their long and arduous journey home.
Leaving with no regrets, but they don't want to leave with no points. But they will if they can't finish chances like that. Well, you mentioned Godic has got years and bags of experience under his belt, and he would have hoped to have done better. The wise owl of the Canadian side has missed a golden opportunity to put Canada back within one.
I was just watching the Canadian fans on that far side. They were cheering. They thought it had crossed the line initially.
Hit the outside of the goal rather than the inside. Zemo taking a risk. Breaks down for Alimanovic and Canada.
Well, Canada, at least they managed to score some goals. They didn't in their opener, but all 3 games since they managed to get on the score sheet. Losing 5-1 to Italy, 3-1 to Oman. And as things stand, 4-1 to the USA. The USA didn't have a goal going into this game, having lost their 2 openers. By the single goal against Oman, then 4-0 against Qatar. And don't forget, after this evening, they've got another game to play against Italy. But we are witnessing the final moments in this tournament from Canada.
Rajic. Godic. Rajic! More profligacy from Canada. Should have scored. And with 4 minutes and a bit to play, it would have made this game really interesting. That's a bad miss.
Rajic should have scored. And Godic should have scored a few moments ago. And it could have been 3-3.
Does bobble up a little bit for Rajic, but I think that's giving him an excuse because he should really score. But they've got another chance to score here, and they do now. They do now. Miroslav Godic. And here we go. 4 minutes to play. United States 3, Canada 2. Can Canada do it and come back? They don't want to go home without any points to show for it. A long way to get here to Muscat. Godic makes it interesting.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised by how the USA have fallen away. In these latter stages of the second half, it's been all Canada. There's a foul over there on that far side. And a free kick.
Yeah, foul from Rajic, who had just missed a golden opportunity, as had Godic. Now Canada have got one. Can they go and get another? Just wonder if Canada do get a result. They'll just think about moments from their goalkeeper, Horace Zemo, saving a penalty, but then another one in which A shot from De Ander went straight through his legs. So 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. But we're in for a hot finish here on the Arabian Peninsula.
I think if we're keeping a ledger, Zemo has more than earned his keep. An array of fine saves, 3 of which from the penalty.
Lindsay. Rajic towards Godic. Scruffily defended by the United States. That was just unnecessary. Entirely unnecessary. You're in opposition territory in the dying stages of the game. Why are you doing that? There's just no need for it. It's silly. Really silly from Andre Rajic, because Canada were up the pitch and America were ready to defend.
Yep, careless that from Rajic. Why do that? Especially when you're trying to leave the tournament with a smile on your faces.
Especially when you're losing the game, Scoot.
You've got an opportunity to make it 3-3.
America trying to make it 4-2, and they do. Well, just a little hesitation there because there was uncertainty as to whether that ball had crossed the line, but it does. And America re-establish their advantage and, more likely than not, re-establish the victory. Well, it does go in straight through the centre of the goal. Zema caught off guard, squeezes in at the near post. Canada come again at the other end. Lindsay lashing a shot goalwards. 4-2 Canada, 4-2 America, against Canada, and into the final minute.
Lopez with the second. He's had a good game this evening. USA hadn't scored before tonight, and now they've got 4.
Well, I just looked at Zemo's face, the Canada goalkeeper, as he sprung up from that ball going into the net. Of course, the advertising boards are quite close to the back of that net, the Canadian goal. So it bounced back out off of those. And I think Zemo was unsure whether it had gone in or not, but it has gone in.
It sometimes can be illusory, can't it? Because it's sometimes quite difficult to tell.
Oh, good chance here for Canada. Rajic. Godic. Nice touch, nice turn. Nice block on the line. We're into overtime. Just wide. Just. United States of America 4, Canada 2. Canada exiting this World Cup. United States still alive. Godic, lovely set.
Another good opportunity for Rajic, his third of the evening, I think.
Well, he wanted a corner, which led me to believe that there might have been a deflection, but no, it was just a poor finish from Rajic.
He could have had a hat-trick.
He could have done, and he was silly to give away the unnecessary free kick for a push when Canada were in an offensive position and just a goal behind. Now they're 2 goals behind because America went up the other end and scored. So a bit of naivety there maybe from the Canadians. No naivety from that man Godic because he's been around the block plenty of times, but that will do it. United States win the North American mini derby, and they win it by a margin of 4-2. They've had to wait 3 games to score their first goal of the tournament, and they score 4 in one night. And what's better, it's against their rivals from the next door nation, and they eliminate them in the process. Entertaining game all in all.
So Canada exit the tournament. Goals for the USA, a pair for Lopez. His first, the opener, and he closed the scoring a minute before time. Also goals from Serrano, the goalkeeper, standing goalkeeper, and Luis De Ander. For Canada, it was Vojinovic and